In this commentary, we would like to briefly talk about the MBT law, staff shell and active radar missiles. Generally, we think that the impact of those type of weapon systems is extremely difficult on the overall gameplay. Why that is the case, we would like to show you. First of all, you can see the APS not working against the MBT law. Why that is the case, we simply have no clue. Moreover, the tolerance for error is unbelievably high in the MBT law. As you can see here, you can miss by miles and the rocket will still trace its target. From our standpoint, this makes no sense at all, and we do not think it's a good idea to reward inaccuracies like that. Even when trying to evade a shot from the MBT law with full speed, the missile can still track you. We show you here in slow motion, and finally hit you. Speaking frankly, we do not appreciate such game mechanics and think that weapons like that should not be in the battlefield game. Next up is a tank using cover. It is extremely easy to hit him with an MBT law here. Even if you have no line of sight on that tank, you as a soldier can fire your MBT law and the missile will track the target even behind that solid piece of cover. This leads to some extremely frustrating moments for tank drivers since they're doing nothing wrong here, using cover correctly and still getting hit, and APS not working against that. As we said already, extremely problematic gameplay mechanic here. Moreover, the MBT law can not only shoot over cover but even around corners. As you can see here, we are in the underground shops on Siege of Shanghai, and even though we have no line of sight on the tank, we can still hit him from under here. Simply abstruse gameplay mechanic and also very interesting missile physics here. Another very beautiful example of using the MBT law like that, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of other good examples on the Battlefield 4 maps where this can be done, is the bridge on Flood Zone. So how would we balance the MBT law to get it to a state where it can actually be somewhat considered being balanced in the game? Well, we've got several things that we'd like to see that would work in combination only. There would be an increase in reload time, a drastic reduction in damage to armored vehicles, let's say 5 to 10, and moreover a reduction of the acceptable angle to prevent shooting around corners. The staff shell, which basically is nothing but a MBT law that's being fired from a tank, has similar problems. Firstly, it cannot be deflected by the active protection system, and moreover it has a flat trajectory with, in theory, unlimited range, so we'll show that here with an extreme example and snipe somebody off of the towers on rogue transmission. Moreover, at this point in the game, the staff shell doesn't share a cooldown with the main shells, so using staff shell you're able to spam out 2 different types of ammunition, and another tank that's not using staff shell himself stands no chance in winning a one-on-one tank fight. Balancing wise, we would like to suggest 2 things for the staff shell. Firstly, it obviously has to be affected by the gravity. The flat trajectory at this point is just a joke. And secondly, it makes no sense at all being able to fire 2 shots from the same barrel right after each other. This simply makes no sense and only leads to more frustration and imbalances in the game. If you think that staff shell and MBT are quite crazy already, this can easily be topped when looking at the active radar missiles that can be equipped by Mobile A and stealth jets. Here you only have to track your target in that big eye in the middle of your screen, and then the missile, after firing, automatically tracks its target, and jets and helis will only get their impact warning a split second before impact, so using countermeasures is extremely difficult. Even though the damage of the missile itself is relatively low, you'll always get a so-called mobility hit, which leads to you losing your control over your vehicle for a short amount of time, which can be extremely difficult and dangerous when being in a dogfight or flying close to the ground. If you note that the big eye in the middle of the screen, which is used for target acquisition and tracking, actually takes up 1/3 of your screen, then you can't really make the point that this weapon system is somewhat related to the user's skill, and therefore it should really not be in a Battlefield game. And to get your proverbial icing on the cake here, the active radar missiles have actually unlimited range. We tried that out once here on Gormod Railway, shooting in the 2000 meter range, and as you can see, the missiles hit across the map. So what would have to be done to make the active radar missiles more balanced? Well, frankly, we would simply like to see the active radar missiles removed from the game, since, as we stated already, they don't really belong in a battlefield game in our opinion. But since that is most likely not going to happen, we would like to see a reduction of the range of the active radar missiles to 300 meters, which would be 50 meters less than the Stinger and therefore have a justified place in the balance model. Another idea would be to remove the mobility hits that active radar missiles cause. Reason for that would be that they have virtually unlimited range, and mobility hits can have extreme consequences for air vehicles, as you all know, I guess. And having no effective countermeasures simply makes them extremely unfair. As always, thanks for tuning in. If you liked it, then please also check out our latest commentary. Moreover, we're providing a link to a scene from The Fifth Element showing the so-called perfect weapon. Maybe DICE will get some inspiration from that. We'll see.